Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Taylor. Typically I do my Buff Bunny reviews on here, but I kind of wanted to show, a more vulnerable side to me and kind of my story and share with everybody. At this point, my journey has been online for about 2 years now, and I thought it would be very important to continue to just voice my story personally. I don't want to come across as being fake or anything like that. So I just wanted to share personally what has been going on in my life. I've actually always kind of been the big girl since I was little, childhood even. I was always the bigger girl. I was never in a size small. I think from what I can always remember, I wore a size large, extra large pretty religiously, like throughout elementary, middle school, high school, which was fine. I played softball, so it was okay to be, quote unquote, the bigger girl. But with that, of course, came a lot of insecurities and a lot of comparisons. It was very hard growing up for me not to compare myself, not only to just my friends, but, family members as well. Being teased or bullied or, not even direct necessarily, but sometimes like underlying things like, oh, like you're so cute for a big girl, little things like that. If you are familiar with that, I'm sorry. But that is just something that I've always struggled with. Now that I am older, I can understand, what brought on those insecurities, and, who I surround myself with is very important, and how other people talk about you is very important. Not necessarily their opinions are important, but sometimes things that are spoken to you at such a young age can make a huge impact on the way that you live your life, even, 25 years later. So with that being said, I went to college and, I played 1 year in college of softball. After that, I went through a pretty bad breakup, and food became even more of a comfort for me. I did struggle, and I do still struggle to this day with food addiction. And I know this is controversial, but, sometimes it isn't a choice. It's something that you feel that you genuinely need. Wish it wasn't that way. I wish I could say it, it's a choice every day, but sometimes for a lot of people, and consider yourself lucky if it has not happened to you, that is your medicine and that is your comfort, especially when that's kind of all you've known to be your comfort, which is kind of why I started my journey here to start working out, taking better care of myself. I did get married almost 3 years ago. So it's, at this point we are trying to start a family, and there's just a lot of factors that go into it. I think I've just always, in my mind, felt like it was impossible for me to lose weight or to feel comfortable without feeling like I needed to eat, or, all of my emotions led to eating. I was sad, I was probably gonna eat something. I had a good day, I'm gonna reward myself with something. Like, there was always the consequence of eating, whether that be good or bad. And again, if you're not familiar with that feeling at all, consider yourself lucky, but there are so many of us out there that food became that comfort, especially when sometimes there was no one else around. It was typically the one thing that made me feel satisfied. I know it's very vulnerable of me, but that's my truth. And I know a lot of people out there also struggle with food addiction, food noise, all sorts of things. The comfort that you get from it, be considered in like any other addiction. Think of something that you are addicted to, whether that be drugs, sex, alcohol, food, you name it. So that's just my personal opinion on it. Like any addiction or choice, there are consequences. Consequences of having a food addiction are weight gain, depression, anxiety, insecurities, all these things that I literally have had my whole life. And not to mention growing up, whenever people are smaller than you saying how big they are, or you know, commenting about other people that they see, or there's so many things that can really trigger how you see yourself in the future. Although I'm smart enough now to kind of understand the differences and, you know, not take everything so personal. As a child, like, you don't really get that. You don't understand right from wrong. If a family member is telling you something, you're gonna believe it a lot of the times. With all that being said, I know I kind of talked your ear off there. My husband and I moved here like 2.5-ish years ago from our hometown. We are from Tulsa originally, but we moved out here to Mississippi, and I think it was like a couple months after we moved in is whenever I was like, okay, I have had enough of this. One, I was still working remote at the time. I was never around people, and especially with us moving, it was literally just us, and I love him to death, but I was so lonely, especially during the day. And so I got even bigger than I already was, and I had reached my heaviest at 298, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, absolutely not. I told myself, if I cannot get to 300, and like, that's just something that I could not do personally. I just mentally, I was so depressed and so anxious. I literally would not leave the house, you guys. I'm not even kidding you. I didn't want to go back to Tulsa a lot of the times to visit friends and family, which breaks my heart. I'm gonna try not to get emotional, but like, I was so embarrassed to go back home, see our friends and family. They're gonna see how big I am, how unhappy I am. I had so much anxiety being around the people that I love the most. Okay, let me gather myself up. Anyway, I know the real ones will love me regardless of my size, but that was very hard for me. I've canceled numerous amount of plans because of the way that I felt about myself, about the way that I looked. So I really needed to figure out what I needed to do for myself to make the change. Obviously, being in a new place, new town, was very refreshing at times. I don't know anybody. I can literally go to the store and not see a soul that I know, whereas back in my hometown, I'm likely to see a couple people if I'm out for a couple hours. That's just how it is. So I think being here too, like, we started going to the gym, didn't know a soul. Yeah, it was nerve-wracking at first because, like, I usually am the biggest one in the gym sometimes, and that is nerve-wracking, especially if you're just starting out on your fitness journey. But thank God, like, everybody at our gym was super nice, and it's almost like you start knowing everybody even if you never have a conversation. So everybody was just super friendly, super motivating. After a while, it just kind of became a habit. I'm sure a lot of you are gym goers, so you understand. The beginning is the hardest part, getting in there, getting started, especially whenever you do struggle with that gym anxiety or social anxiety in general. Trust me, I understand firsthand, especially when you walk in the store and you're the biggest person in the room. I was always looking around a room, doesn't matter, restaurant, store, gym, does not matter. I was always looking around to see if I was the biggest person in the room. I don't know if that is an everybody thing or just somebody who struggles with their weight or an insecurity thing. I don't really do that as much anymore. I think sometimes I still do depending on the situation, but I feel like that part of me is kind of like shifted away a little bit. And that's come with, you know, accepting myself more and being comfortable more in my own body. Anyway, I feel like I kind of got off topic there, but a couple months after us being here, I was like, I need to make this change because this is getting ridiculous. I mean, we've both struggled with our weight. You know, we were college athletes at one point and then we weren't. So we found comfort in that with each other, I think, as well. Like, we both resorted to food as comfort, and that's also very unhealthy because it was like we're kind of feeding off of each other. If you are in a relationship and you guys are both like that, it is so much harder to break that cycle versus if one person is and one person isn't. A lot of times, like, we would get stuck in like, oh, well, let's go get this for dinner, or like, oh, like, we ate good last night, we don't have to eat good this night, or, and my light just went out. So anyway, that doesn't matter. It makes it a lot harder whenever both of you guys are kind of on the same page when it comes to like what you feel comfortable about. So that was a really, really hard thing that we had to break when we started working out and trying to eat better and stuff, because we had to kind of be hard on each other, you know. And that's honestly what it takes, is just not giving into that peer pressure sometimes. Like, you know, if I suggest grab McDonald's tonight, and then he's like, ooh, yeah, that actually sounds good. And then I say, no, like, we really need to be better. And then he's like, yeah, well, we can be better tomorrow. Okay, well, somebody who's struggled with a food addiction like my whole life, okay, yeah, you're right, let's just go get it tonight. And then we eat it, and then we feel like absolute shit because we weren't mentally strong enough to say no. That part is one of the hardest parts, and we still struggle with that at times. Like, I think any human does. And that's not to say you can't eat McDonald's when you want. It's just finding that balance. Hey, we can have McDonald's, but maybe I get, you know, chicken instead of the bread. Take the bread off. Or maybe instead of eating 2 double cheeseburgers and a medium fry, I eat 1 double cheeseburger and maybe like a Coke Zero or something. I don't know. Find some sort of balance. At the end of the day, it is about calories. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. I think a huge thing for me at the very beginning of my journey, I took pictures of like me in the mirror with basically no clothes on. Obviously I'm not gonna show those, but those ones were like very motivating for me. And some of my close friends, like, I sent them to them because I was like, oh my God, you know, I was just kind of excited. Early on, that was a huge factor for me. And after a couple months, and like I started genuinely seeing the progress, not just visually, but I started feeling better. I was happier. I had more energy, even though I was doing more things, which is kind of mind-blowing to me. Like, I had more energy whenever I went and worked out, or when I went to the grocery store, versus if I stayed at home and rotted on the couch for 4 hours. So it just, it was crazy how different my body felt, not just physically, but like mentally. I feel like that was something that really kept me motivated and kept me going. This is to say, like, I have not been perfect. There have actually been months where maybe I haven't worked out, or maybe I only worked out once a week, or maybe I ate like shit for 3 or 4 weeks and then was like, oh, I need to get back on my calorie deficit. Like, that shit is gonna happen. I think mentally, as long as you, like, for me personally, like, I can't let myself get back to where I was, not just weight-wise, but mentally-wise. Like, I was in such a dark, dark place. I've also struggled a lot with like my periods, and I have not had regular cycles. I've been on for months at a time. I've not been on for months at a time. I honestly, as long as I can remember, I've kind of struggled with like my cycles. Years ago, I was on the arm implant, and I think it like really kind of messed me up a little bit. Anyway, now to get into the actual story. I had to have some backstory first, okay? So back in March, I went to my OB, and this was the first time I've seen her in this state. So I had to find a whole new doctor, and you know how that goes if you're a woman. Like, it's so nerve-wracking to find somebody new, especially when you're so used to having like the same person all the time. And now you've got to develop a whole relationship with somebody else, and it's just, I put it off for a while because genuinely, like, I was nervous to go just because you never know what they're gonna say, and it's awkward. Okay, let's be real. So found my doctor. She's absolutely amazing. like I left there almost in tears just because of just how amazing she was. Very first visit I had with her, we scheduled a surgery. Like all these years, my doctor before, you know, I felt like never wanted to get to the root of the issue and always just kind of like, oh, let's try birth control. Let's do this, and never kind of got to the root of the problem. Whereas my new doctor here immediately knew the problem and had some surgery to remove some cysts and some other fun stuff down there. So that happened in March. My husband and I have been trying to conceive since November of 2022. So basically, like right after we got married, we have just not prevented, essentially. I mean, I've been severely overweight. I've never really had a normal cycle, nor do I know if I've ever ovulated correctly. There was just so many things that were not in the place for me to even, I guess, get pregnant. Miraculously, it could have happened. I just feel like there's so many things that needed to be done and still probably do need to be done with my body to get to a place where I am naturally able to conceive. I don't have PCOS, thank God. I do know a lot of women struggle with that. I know a lot of friends that have it, and it's just, I'm very thankful that I don't have that yet. Was told several months ago, like at my appointment in May or March, that I have like early signs of it. So I do struggle a ton with insulin resistance. So I don't know if you're familiar with that. I don't know a ton about it, to be honest. I don't really like Googling things that much because it's scary. But I know insulin resistance can be like an early sign of diabetes and all these things that like I feel like could be preventable. PCOS, not super preventable. I know a lot of times you can just like inherit that, I believe. But in my situation, they were things that could be avoided, okay? So it wasn't like, you know, I am in the best shape of my life and then I got PCOS, okay? It's like I have done things to harm my body and now I'm in a place where I'm like, oh shit, I need to fix this so other things can happen for me. Now to get into the actual main reason I did the video, my OB recommended me to start a GLP-1. If you are not familiar with the GLP-1, it is a hormone that regulates your blood pressure, helps with digestion, and helps to curb your appetite. There are so many amazing factors about GLP-1. Essentially, my OB recommended it. Of course, I was hesitant at first. I feel like it gets such a bad rep. I was even just nervous to tell people that I started taking it because I was afraid to lose followers, which if I lose you because of this, I'm sorry, but bye. Like, this is my journey and I feel like I owe it to myself and everybody just to be like honest with my journey. And like, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. But I'm not sorry at the same time because like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I started taking Zepbound in middle of August, okay? I've lost 20 pounds since starting that. So like almost 2 months, I've lost 20 pounds. And yeah, that's great. The weight is great, but I feel like I've just, aside from the weight loss, there have been so many amazing factors that have been happening. Like, I have so much more energy. I am not constantly thinking about my next meal, you guys. Consider yourself lucky if you really don't struggle with food noise. When I tell you, I was eating my breakfast thinking about what I was gonna have for lunch, and sometimes even already thinking about what I wanted for dinner before I even ate my lunch. That was a regular thing for me, always in my head, what I'm gonna eat next, what I'm gonna eat next. Like, ooh, this sounds good, that sounds good. That's like a constant thing that was like always in my head. And one of the biggest things about this medicine, and it's even hard to believe, is that shuts off. Like, I can literally go half the day and be like, oh, it's like 1 o'clock. I should probably eat something. Like, it's crazy to even think that, like, I'm not thinking about food, you know? That's probably one of the biggest things for me. When she did prescribe the medicine to me, I did have high cholesterol. I don't know now. Actually, I have an appointment next week, so I'm excited for that, to see kind of if that's changed at all. Unfortunately, the medicine is not accepted by my insurance, and I had to outsource it, and I was paying $350 for, I think I did get 3 months supplies, I believe, because now I'm on what, like the 3rd month? But I ended up getting it like 3 times, I think, 2 or 3 times. But anyway, $350 is kind of a lot. It is very beneficial because like it's doing great things for me, and like it's worked. So obviously to me, like that was worth it. So I was like, I don't care, like I'm gonna make it work. Well, then I got an amazing opportunity. So I am now actually working with Amble. So they are a GLP-1 company. They sell different kinds of GLP-1, the compounded version, semaglutide and tirzepatide, and they also have added features like B12, NSAIDs, so they have a lot of other things as well. So I am officially started with them. So I am switching from Zepbound to tirzepatide, and I'm actually waiting for my first order to come in. I am so excited to start this journey, and I'm so thankful for the people that put me in touch with Amble. I also do have a direct link, so if you are interested in a GLP-1 or have any questions, let me know and I can definitely help you out. You can get a discount through my link as well. I know that a lot of people associate taking a GLP-1 or taking anything that's not natural is cheating, or, you know, maybe the easy way out. Who gives a fuck, honestly? There's just so many factors that go into a GLP-1, and I just feel like people that hate on it so much don't really grasp everything that it really does to help people. It literally changes people's lives. It's already changed my life, and I've been on it for only like 2.5 months. Sorry I got a little bit like snappy there, but it really irks me whenever people that hate on it the most are probably the ones that know nothing about it other than it's a shot, and God forbid somebody do something to help themselves. God forbid somebody do something to help themselves that's not natural. Because guess what? 90% of people are probably doing something else that's not natural. Okay, let's be real. So all that being said, I am super excited to be with Amble. And again, I do have a link. So if you are interested in GLP-1, if you have any questions or anything, let me know. I would be more than happy to help. If you did watch this whole video, thank you. You're a real one for that, because I may have lost people as soon as I said GLP-1. So this is a great partnership, and I'm very grateful for all of you guys as well. I would not be here without you as far as sharing my journey. So thank you so much. And obviously I'm going to be continuing to post about this journey and my GLP-1 journey and my Amble journey. So if you are here for me and you are actually here for my journey, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And just know that I'm always here for you guys, and I'm always here to help, ask questions, and support you as much as you guys support me. So I love you all, and have a good weekend.